Mayor's called the meeting to order. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Here.
Councilmember Calendrillo. Councilmember Aaron Delaney.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Here.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Here.
Okay, we have 4 ayes and 1 absent. That means a quorum is present for this regular meeting of the Garfield City Council, which is being held today, which is Tuesday, June the 25th, 2019. This regular meeting is being held in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by mail, facsimile, and email to the official city newspapers and to other interested parties, and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin boards in City Hall. If everyone would please rise, we'd like to begin with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'd like to have a short prayer. Heavenly Father and Almighty God, may all who are in authority act in accordance with your commandments. Grant them wisdom and understanding, that through their actions your people may be guided and directed in righteousness and in unity. And we ask these things in your name.
Amen.
At this time, is there a motion to approve the reports of the Cabinet as presented orally and in writing during the work session held earlier this evening?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Aaron Delaney, seconded by Councilmember Aloya. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo. Councilmember Aaron Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso. Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 absent. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, all the resolutions listed, except for the very first one, which we're holding, but all the resolutions listed have signatures of all the council members present. So if there's no objections, we will take 1 roll call vote on all those resolutions. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
I voted aye, but on 186, I did not sign. I abstain on that. I have a
Oh,
conflict.
I see what happened. Yeah, you signed it twice. Okay, then,
184 to
how about
185,
if I
it's
do this?
aye.
I'm sorry?
And 186, I abstain.
Okay.
And vote aye on all the others.
You could just continue with it.
Yeah, I will.
184 is held, right?
Correct. Okay, continuing with the roll call, as noted by Councilmember Aloya, the balance, number 187 to the end, Councilmember Aloya,
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo, Councilmember Aaron Delaney,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney,
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 absent. Should I proceed with bills and claims, Mr. Mayor?
Bills and claims.
Wait, where's redevelopment?
That's an ordinance.
It's an ordinance.
Yes. Okay, resolved by the City Council of the City of Garfield that the following bills number 2177 to 2183 covering Dog Trust Fund, Dedicated Penalty Trust Fire Department, and Community Policing Trust Fund totaling $3,278.27, and the current fund reserve totaling $1,815.00, and the current fund totaling $277,720.89, and the water fund totaling $16,649.69, and the general capital fund totaling $7,197.50, and the water capital fund totaling $16,623.00, per attached computer list, be ordered paid, and the proper officers are hereby authorized to issue checks for same, provided there are funds in the respective appropriations. Be it further resolved that the action of the mayor, city clerk, and city treasurer in issuing checks in payment on the ratification list, which includes 22 items prior to the meeting, be ratified. Bills and claims resolution is offered by all the council members present. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
Aye.
Councilmember Calendrillo. Councilmember Aaron Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 absent. Bills and claims are approved. Proceed to ordinances.
Ordinances, please.
Okay, the following entitled ordinance was introduced at a meeting held on June 11th, 2019. It was duly published. Copies were posted on the bulletin boards in City Hall. Copies were made available to the general public, and having complied with the law, this ordinance was not read in full, and the City Council can now proceed with the public hearing and final passage. Bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new additional or replacement equipment and machinery and a new automotive vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the water utility of the City of Garfield in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $750,000 to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
On this ordinance and this ordinance only.
Tom, could you explain exactly what this ordinance means to the public?
We are required by the law to do certain things to protect our water department and to deliver the right quality of water to our citizens. There are a number of improvements, things that need to be done. One, for example, is the purchase of a valve turning machine. Right now, you'll see our people out on the street, and they have this device, like a key they put into the road, and they try to turn the valves. It doesn't always work properly. It's very difficult. The valve turning machine is automatic. It's computer responsive, so it actually knows how to open it, so we would have a lot less destruction with our valves. This also will allow us to do certain valve replacements. It will allow us to purchase additional fire hydrants. There's a vehicle in here for the Assistant Superintendent of Public Works. Essentially, it is for improvements to our water plant. Our water plant here in Garfield is very, very valuable. We need to protect it, and we need to make certain that we are in compliance at all times with requirements set forth by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, Bureau of Water Quality. So this ordinance goes a long way to help that, and I would appreciate the council's support.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. On this ordinance and this ordinance only, would anybody like to come up and speak? I see no hands. Drew?
Okay, on second reading, Councilmember Aloya.
I'm giving my support to the ordinance because it doesn't include the meters, which you know I'm adamantly opposed to. So on this ordinance, I vote aye.
Councilmember Calandrillo, Councilmember Arundellini.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney. Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 absent. The ordinance is adopted. Okay, on introduction, hold on a second. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garfield adopting the redevelopment plan for 99 and 100 Passaic Street, which have been designated as a non-condemnation redevelopment area pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A-1 et sec. The ordinance is introduced by Council Members Delaney, Joseph Delaney, and Rigoloso. On the roll call on introduction, Councilmember Aloya.
No.
Councilmember Calandrillo, Councilmember Delaney.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
Aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes, 1 nay, 1 absent. The ordinance passes on first reading. And we have on first reading an ordinance of the City of Garfield creating a new chapter 239 of the Garfield City Code to be entitled Plastic Bag and Straw Regulations. The ordinance is introduced by Council Members Delaney, Joseph Delaney, and Rigoloso. On the roll call, Councilmember Aloya.
I think that this particular ordinance is a good one in the sense that our councilwoman is proposing something that makes us hopefully a little bit more healthy. But I don't think it's something that's easily enforced and creates complications far greater than potentially this simple solution will make. I think a first step is always necessary. I'm going to endorse this and vote aye on this. As a personal opinion, I think we better learn we have to incinerate all of our trash. We can't dump it in the ocean. We can't dump it in landfills. Can't dump it in the backyard. We can't sit here and say, well, we're just going to not use it. There's enough batteries and plastic out there that will far exceed the value of anything that we do as a conservative issue. It has to be an issue of replacement, and it has to be an issue of we have to consume it via an incinerator, take that energy that we generate, have clean chimneys. We can do it. It's doable. I vote aye on this. I think it's worth any one step.
Councilmember Calandrillo, Councilmember Erin Delaney.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Aloya. I was going to save my comments for this at the end for our council member comments, but I anticipate having a lot to say then, so I'm going to give my spiel now. This has been a long time coming. It's something that I've been discussing and pushing for over a year. It may seem minuscule to some people. What impact can a 30,000 municipality have on our earth? But little things are what make big things happen. Americans throw away 100 billion single-use plastic bags on a yearly basis, and we also consume 500 million straws daily. While single-use plastic bags may be recyclable in theory, they're not in practice. When put in single-stream recycling, they're often caught in the machines, causing them to break down. When they're not put in recycling and included in irregular garbage for landfills, dangerous emissions are then produced. And if not in either of those, they are in our litter, in our parks, streets, rivers, and oceans. Plastic has so many adverse side effects. Our marine life is affected, and they're also created from non-renewable resources. While this is going to be considered statewide down the pike, I think that's important for our city to send a message now for our state legislature to pick up the pace. And I'm very proud that Garfield's taking the first steps in being part of the solution. So with that being said, I vote aye.
Deputy Mayor Joseph Delaney.
I'd like to applaud Councilwoman Delaney on this ordinance. You know, climate change is real. I don't care, you know, who in the White House says it's not, it's real. You know, and for us to do nothing isn't the right thing either. So we have to take steps. This, whether we're able to enforce it or not, at least it sends a message to our legislators in Trenton that, yeah, we want to see something done. I vote aye.
Mayor Rigoloso.
All right, Councilwoman has been discussing this for about over a year, and it's taken a while to get to this point, and it's great to see Garfield just join the race in cleaning up Garfield. I vote aye.
Okay, we have 4 ayes, 1 absent. The ordinance passes on introduction, and that concludes all written items for voting at this time. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council.
Okay, at this time, we'll go open it up to citizens and taxpayers. Remember, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your address. At this time, would anybody like to come up and speak? Anybody like to come up and speak? Mr. Denistran.
That mic on, that mic? The microphone?
Good job, Kev.
Mike Dennis Strand, 104 Palisade Ave, Garfield. This introduction about Passaic Street, I think anybody that votes for this on a city council is insane. Reason being, it's just going to create more problems with Passaic Street. We have trouble with the trestle. I took pictures how the trestle floods and backs up traffic, cars that were stuck under that trestle. And you want to put more cars on the street, 100 cars or so. You don't have the proper plan yet to show the public what we're looking at. You're just throwing at it and sticking it down our throats without a real explanation on how you're going to go about this plan. And I think anything you do here should have some input with the citizens of Garfield. The majority of people here are opposing this introduction. And I feel even the developers that you deal with, just like the one that built the police station, seems like he's going to jail. We ought to check some of the developers out and see if they really could finish these projects. It's another thing here and we were told they needed $970,000 for furniture, and here It was all about just to complete the job. I don't know if anybody saw that in the papers. But I think just going through this project without giving us an idea what it even looks like, a projection in a newspaper or showing a plan or anything like this, I think is insane. And you people who vote for this, comes up the next election, we're going to remember this. You know, you people are up there and you're supposed to represent us, right? And that's my 3 minutes or so. And I think some other people would like to come up here and talk. But I think even places like Wyckoff and Ramsey, they don't want any 6-story buildings. And neither do we. We want change, but we don't want to over-densify the area. Garfield is crowded enough. We love our 2-family homes, 1 and 2 family homes. And we love our backyard barbecues, our gardens, and everything else. This is a whole new era that you're trying to push on us. And a 1-bedroom apartment for $2,000. Garfield was an affordable town. You're trying to make it an unaffordable town and bring in new people and throw out people that really live and work here. You know? So that's my input for today. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Please come on up. Ma'am?
My name is Doris Baugas.
Oh, your address, ma'am.
Tax Tax Solution on Sake Street. Been there 15 years.
Can we have your address?
66 Sake Street. Been there 15 years. Been a resident of Garfield, own a home on Chestnut Street for 30 years. I have put my lifetime into my business, and there are quite a few businesses that have about the same amount of time where we have put our lifetime of work and built a business on the same street. With all the issues, we are still there. Number one issue, which I have tried to address and I just gave up because nobody listens here, is the parking. I'm constantly getting tickets, and you know what, I pay it. I don't have a choice. Sometimes I work at the 10 at night. You think I want to park 3 blocks down the road and get held up? Tax season, I do taxes. I'm there very late and I close. I park on the yellow, yes. So I'm supporting the police department and the city with my tickets. Yes, I'll pay it. Because the city doesn't do anything. I know that some people on the board might think that the businesses of State Street are obsolete. You're wrong. We've been there and we worked hard. And you know what? As of today, I am going to make sure that my neighbors will back whatever we are trying to stop, which is this development program, which I don't even know too much about, but I do know it's going to actually hurt us with the parking. I lose clients every single day. I'm a notary as well. Your offices are there, yes, they're there to issue tickets, but they're just watching. Parks right on the yellow, my clients run in, I have seen that some of your offices are very nasty because I've seen them, I've even gone out there. As soon as they stop, they come in to drop off for paperwork, or they come in so that I can notarize something, it takes 2 minutes, there they are, tickets. And the city just doesn't care. It's really sad. Been in this town 30 years, have 3 kids here, educated here, and you want to bring better people? Why don't you think about cleaning up the streets? Yes. When I moved in this town was we were so proud to live in this town. You want to bring better people and taking us out? Why don't you think about putting people or your officers or whatever to clean up the streets, get the drug addicts out of the Sage Street, Monroe Street, Jewel. Think about that. And then think about getting better people in here. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to come up? Ms. Capizzi.
Dolores Capizzi, 107 Midland. I just have some questions. I'd like to know, as far as the redevelopment agency plan dated May 28th. Based on that plan, who will be doing the impact study and when will it be done? Also, there was some verbiage used as descriptive verbiage, and it's on page 2, and it reflects some of the verbiage that had been used in the eminent domain explanation, plan, survey, whatever you want to call it. The parcels are underutilized, abandoned, vacant, dilapidated, obsolete, criterion. I find this a little strange, considering that if the properties that we are talking about were allowed to get into that condition that you describe, since Greater Bergen owns them, all except one property. Why was that? And by the way, the vacant property that is stated in here is not vacant at all. There's a family living there. So I think maybe you want to address that issue, just so that things are accurate. The other thing is that, there's a lot to be questioned in here, and I know I don't have the time, so I will put it in writing, and it can be addressed that way. But when you get to page 18, and you look at the last paragraph, basically what it says is that any redeveloper will be able to come in, override zoning, planning board, because they put a 45-day limit on the planning board notifying the city council of any changes that want to be made in the laws. I have never in my life heard of a plan that will be in effect for 39 years. It says right here, this redevelopment plan, with the duration of it, will extend to December 31st, 2058. Never heard of that before. That's a new one. So, basically, when you read through this, the developer, over the next 39 years, will own the town. And there's also a question that I have, with all of these overrides, if you want to call them, based upon zoning laws and things like that, how does that affect the citizens who are not part, whose parcels are not part of redevelopment? It states that there will be some changes on page 11. And I don't know if it's called the B1 zone and the B1R. If those are just for the developer, or if those also include citizens who are not part of that redevelopment.
Dolores, I'm sorry, 3 minutes are up. We have other people. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to come up and speak?
Letitia Jackson, 64 Farnham Ave. I'm here with a couple of my other neighbors for Farnham Ave. They repaved the road on our block, and we came home a couple weeks ago to lose almost 3 parking spots to yellow lines. We have a huge parking problem on our block. There's about 18 apartments alone from Naples to where I live, which is not even 5 houses from Naples, that we all, there's one driveway. So we're trying to figure out why we're losing spots, and we're fighting for parking on Farnham Ave. Basically, there's hardly any driveways on that block.
Ms. Jackson, where do you live on Farm Ave?
64 Farnham Ave, and PSC&G came and repaved, and then they came and painted lines where there were no lines before. And like I said, we're fighting for parking every night. So, we're trying to figure out what's going on. Is it a mistake? Was it not supposed to be lines here? Because, it's big spaces. I have pictures. it's a big space, almost 2 cars could fit there. So, we just want to know what's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Anyone else would like to come up and speak? It's on.
Oh, there it goes, okay. My name's Al McDaniel. First thing I want to say is I'm real happy about that plastic bag and straw thing. It's long overdue. It's important that as a town, you show solidarity with, things that are coming in the future and do it now. Like, I know a lot of towns across the United States have agreed to accept the Paris Accords, even though the federal government doesn't, and I think that's a good step. I just wish that it kind of would have gone a little further and also banned within a certain amount of time any kind of foam containers, foam soda cups, plastic cups, because stores don't realize that if they give someone a bonus or a discount for using a reusable cup, that could actually bring in business and decrease their costs. So I would like this to see at some point extended to like foam, takeout containers, and to be using more recyclable materials in all, I know it's an ongoing thing, and the people who manufacture it have to take some of the responsibility of recycling it and reusing it, but I just think it's a good step. This is my first meeting. I don't know about this redevelopment plan, but this is also the first I'm hearing about a 6-story building around anywhere. And I'm also a little bit nervous about the density problem, parking problems, as they already are. And I'm wondering why they don't dedicate some of this money, if they want to improve Passaic Street, to fixing the damn street. The street is a disgrace, and it's the main street of our town. And when people come through that stretch, if they're not just going to the mall, they see the street where you have to drive like literally 2 miles an hour not to, break your shots. So that's my other point. But the reason I actually came here was because I think it's about a few years ago, sometime between 2014 and 16, there was an article in the town paper looking for volunteers for an environmental group in the city. And I volunteered, and I sent in a form, and I gave them my credentials, and after about 6 months, I was accepted into the group, and after that, I never heard anything about them. And I came back to City Hall to ask about what was going on with the group and why I never got any information about it or a meeting or whatever. And they pretty much didn't know what I was talking about. They told me to find a girl whose name they only knew as Chris. They told me to go to the library. I went to the library. No one knew what I was talking about. And then I found out that Garfield already has some kind of environmental thing going on. And I'm wondering if I can get on it and what the status of it is.
Al, do you have your address? We didn't get your address.
18 Hepburn Place.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to come up and speak? Sir?
I don't speak very well English. Can't hear.
Kevin, check the switch, Kevin.
Did it unplug from the floor?
You just have to speak in.
Speaks louder. Is it on?
There we go.
Okay, I don't speak very well
okay.
English, but I try. I live in Garfield for 20 years. The same.
Your name, sir?
My name is Ricardo Abudele. I come in with the neighborhood, the same problem, the Farhan Avenue, because PSC&G is paying yellow line in the corner. They take it to parking as in the front of the house. Sometimes in this area is problem for parking. If they take it 2 spies from my house and the 60 Farhan, in the front of the house in my neighborhood. We stay here for see the city help you come back to the parking. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What's the address? Address, sir?
Farnham Ave.
Former-
60 Farhan in Garfield.
Okay, thank you.
Carol Kojic, 23 Spencer Place. I want to thank you very much for the plot. It's a beautiful job.
Good.
I want to talk about, there was a remark, I think, the last meeting about this new building that's going up. I don't think it's a smart idea. I'm only here 6 years, but I don't think it's a smart idea. If you want to make it a Hoboken, you want trans people coming in and chasing the homeowners out, I think that's a bad idea. I really do. You can't keep this town clean as it is, and you want to bring more people in here, more cars. And I think there was a remark about Spencer Place putting some, if they couldn't find parking, they put it on Spencer Place, to park on Spencer Place. That's not happening. I'm telling you right now, that's not gonna happen. We can't park on our own street. And I'm not paying over $1,000, over $10,000 on taxes where I can't park in my street. And I'll have every one of my tenants, every one of my neighbors come and park on the street, if that's the case. Put it by your house if you like, but not by our houses. And to chase out people that want to stay here and want homeowners, I'm surprised you don't want homeowners. I really am. And we're getting the impression you don't. You want young people coming in, you want the trains, you're paying $2,000. This is not Hoboken. You couldn't do what Hoboken did, first of all, to keep this town the way Hoboken does, okay? And to pay $2,000 for one bedroom, do you really think they have one car? Let's face it, they have people staying over, if they have company, where are they gonna park their cars? On my street. And right, and that's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen on my street. Maybe your street, it could happen, and put the stuff on your street, but not mine. I like my house, I enjoy my house, and I don't want a whole bunch of people coming in and destroying what I have and worked very hard for. And if you can't, if they couldn't sell it for $2,000 or rent it for $2,000, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen with these apartments? They're gonna either lower it, or you're not gonna get the people that you want in here. And then what happens to the town? You can't keep this town clean as it is, and you want more people in there. We have an apartment it's 50 apartment on the corner. We've been asking to put lids, these poor people that live there, we're asking to put lids on these things, not once. Their garbage is piled up to here, disgusting, and you can't even keep that clean, or get even garbage pails with lids on them. And you want to put more people in here? And the train station? Come on, give me a break. Really, just give me a break. Try to clean up the town first. Try to do Patterson, Passaic Street, clean that up a little. Help these people that have stores on Patterson Street or Passaic Street. Help them. Help clean it up.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone else would like to come up? Come on, Ms. Raymond. No, yes. Mayor Raymond?
I've been on a sabbatical, so can I have more than 3 minutes?
No, I'm sorry, Tana.
That's it?
Yes.
3 minutes? That's disgraceful.
It is.
Come back.
You know, people.
Tana, you're allowed to come back up after everybody else speaks. If you want to come back up, you're allowed to come back up. But you're going to get 3 minutes as well, Tana. When you sat up here, Tana, there was times too.
Oh,
Please.
no, I never cut anybody off.
I won't
3
cut you
minutes,
off.
that's a joke.
You'll have your 3 minutes. You can come back
Well,
up.
I'll be back up then because I have other things I want to talk about, but listening to these people tonight, I didn't know about this, I heard about it, I read about it in the paper. You gotta be kidding. I mean, Kevin, how big of a piece of property is that they're building on? Is that a half an acre?
Not question and answer time.
Yeah, Kev, we're not gonna answer questions. We'll answer questions at the end. We'll answer questions at the end, Tana, not in
Okay,
between.
well, I just want to say, I have a half an acre, my property's a half an acre in Garfield. So then you're telling me I could put a 6-story, 100-apartment building on my house? I'm gonna tell my son, when I die, build 100 apartments on the property, you could retire. That's ridiculous. That place down there is so overpopulated as it is. Why would you overpopulate it more? What happened to the revitalization of the Safe Street? I thought we were gonna revitalize that area. What happened to that? Did that go out the window? Nobody answers. Well, I think it's a mistake. And I watched on my 4-inch phone the last time, the meeting, first meeting I watched, on the phone. And Mayor, I think you had said that you hadn't read anything about this yet at the last meeting. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think, I go to number 10 school in my travels, on my job to evaluate the nurse. There's no place to park. What's gonna happen when these people in these apartments are rented? And another thing, who is gonna pay $2,000 a month to live on Passaic Street? I don't think so. We built the apartments down by Martha Muscarell. They're not all rented. They're still not all rented. So why are we building more? And they have plenty of parking that has not impacted the neighborhood at all. That was a good plan. That was a good move. I don't really think this is. I really would ask this council to rethink this. Is my 3 minutes almost up? Because I have another issue.
Carol, I'm trying to listen, please.
You have about 1 more minute.
I got 1 more minute? Jeez. The other thing I want to bring up, when I was the mayor, I televised these meetings. We had students who used to televise them. Now, I have to avoid people in my son's office, senior citizens, because they tell me if they put on channel 77, they see a still picture, there's no sound. And I heard at the last meeting, we had gotten $900,000 in from Cablevision. So why can't we invest, take some of that money and put in the new feed that we need, or whatever we need to update the equipment? I don't know how much it would cost, but even if it costs $30,000, what's the difference? People, you can't expect senior citizens to watch these council meetings on their phones, if they even have phones. Most of them have flip phones. And I don't want to watch it on a flip phone. I want to sit in my living room and watch it on my 60-inch TV. And I don't have Fios. I have Cablevision. So I would ask you really to rethink that, look into that a little bit further. I was only able to get some of it on my phone. I couldn't get the whole thing. But I was a little bit upset when I heard that.
Thank you, Tana. You're gonna have to come back up. Anyone else?
My name is Joe Vanis, I'm with Garfield. I've always said, and we've always said, we want improvements on Passaic Street. I can't keep saying it enough. I live right in that area. I want improvements on Passaic Street. And I want to have good faith in your decisions. But what happened in the past, I'd like to leave it in the past, but it's something that I remember when it was the eminent domain. Not one person on 3 agencies, redevelopment, planning, and the majority of city council, not one person had the wherewithal to vote no. Not one person said, hey, wait a minute, this might be illegal. Hey, this might be illegal. No one. Everybody said yes straight across the board. So I want to have good faith in your decision, but I think about that, and I see it happening again. Not one person on redevelopment, planning board, or the majority here voted no. And might be saying, hey, it might be a little too high, it might be a little too dense. Not one person is having the wherewithal to say that, even though they hear us speaking. I'm not against it. We need improvements, but a little too high, a little too dense, and with a school 1 block away. I live near a school. I see all the little kids running. And here you're going to put an additional possible 210 cars, plus 105 going up the residents. There have been articles about Montclair building boom poses risks. And in this article, increased traffic, risk to pedestrians, less diversity, loss of older, smaller scale buildings. This is a town that has finished their redevelopment, I think, and they're starting to look back and say, wait a minute, what did we do? They even gave a warning out to other towns that are trying to redevelop. They gave a warning to think about what you're doing. I'm not against it. We desperately need improvements on Safe Street. So that's my comment about the development. I'm going to come up again to mention something about cable after.
Anyone else?
John Laura, 125 Marcellus Place. I'm all for change. It's a great thing, but if it's Safe Street, no go. My house is a vortex of all the junk that comes to Garfield. So literally that corner doesn't get cleaned. The guys you have cleaning the streets suck.
Whoa.
They don't even, excuse me, not good work is being done. That's what it comes down to. They're not even hitting the curb to get all the garbage. I have to pick it up, and then I get a ticket for bringing garbage out too early.
Marcellus, please.
So, parking is ridiculous. I'm happy that everyone goes to church on Saturday and Sunday, but you're not going to be able to move during the weekends if you put this place up. So, I'm all for change. I'm all for the respect of the people, but we need to change the development. We need to change the scheme that you guys are coming up with this, because it's not working. The people are telling you it's not working, and I'm with them. Thank you.
What's his name, Sean Laurel?
John Laurel.
John?
Anyone else would like to come up?
Laurel?
Yeah, it's close enough.
I just wanted to, as far as the cable goes, since it is our money and it's not money that is from our taxes that goes into the budget, it's additional monies that the town receives from the citizens in their franchise fees. I would also like to extend their civil rights and their constitutional rights to transparency. And in the live feed of that include the redevelopment, the planning, and the zoning boards, and the city council meetings, because it is absolutely ridiculous that if a person has to work a second shift, or if they're old, or if they are disabled, they are prevented from being active participants in our community. So, if they want to know what's going on at redevelopment, in order for them to get a copy of those minutes, it's $600 a pop. Why? You're already getting money from our franchise fees. So in total transparency, and I really don't believe that anyone here is object to that, let's include everything the way other towns do. And I think that you would have a much greater participation and a more positive participation from the citizens, because let's say they did want to get involved in a particular activity that is going on, they'll know about it. It's not all about complaining. It's about people using their talents and their energies in an area that they know they can make a difference and have a positive impact.
Thank you.
One thing, if you're gonna redevelop and you're gonna have people coming in and not homeowners that we want to be stable, why do we need council? I know unfortunately we need a mayor, but why would we need council? I rented for 25 years and not once did I ever go to a council meeting. So obviously, we can not have council. We'll have a mayor, unfortunately, but we won't have council. And I don't know why you want to keep on doing this to ruin our town instead of building it up. I really don't. You know, we asked for cleanliness. We're not asking for the moon here. We really aren't. We're just asking investing to live in a nice town we can be proud of. I know Miss Delaney was supposed to put garbage pails or flower pots, that never happened, whatever. You know, there was a lot of things that never happened in this town. And when it did, it took 5, 10, 15 years. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That's it.
Anyone else? Mike?
Michael Gall. Deputy Mayor Joe Delaney had made a statement at one of the council meetings more than one time that if you want to know what happens at a meeting, come to the meetings. To me, this sounds like a little discriminatory statement which affects not only those senior citizens who do not have high-tech or smart cell phones in their lives, but also to any homebound and handicapped citizens, people who work in a night shift, or parents who may have a special needs child, or any other reason which might prevent someone from coming out at night for meetings which may extend to 11 p.m. Please do not say you are transparent, because this is totally the opposite of any of transparency at all. Mr. Delaney also said at the Board of Ed meetings and City Council meeting that the cable is dead and no one any longer watches TV. And the mayor stated that there are only 5 to 6 FiOS subscribers. These are not facts, but are very misleading statements. Maybe the city of Garfield could conduct a study to check the annual members of subscribers of cable and FiOS before making inaccurate statements. These are the facts. From the year 2010 to 2019, cable and FiOS have paid Garfield a total of almost $3 million. And in addition, come January 26th, both cable vision companies will be paying an additional $300,000 for a total of $3,300,000. This is a massive amount of money which comes directly from subscriber franchise fees, which are paid monthly from our cable bill.
Go on, Mike. You can continue.
And a reference to Ms. Councilwoman Delaney, high-tech is great, but why has the new website, Alpha Dog Pay, has been paid from the city $500,000 in 2018 and another $5,700 in 2019? These are yearly fees with an additional monthly fee of $1,890, which brings the total to $34,000. And yet it hasn't even been started up. I believe the contract was signed. I don't know about this, but this doesn't look too good at this point in time. QSAN, the company we now have, has been charging Garfield a one-year fee of $2,200. So Garfield will be going from $2,200 to a grand total of over $22,000. And most likely, are we getting any monies from Alpha Dog, like Garfield has been receiving from the cable companies? Thank you.
Tanner?
You know, Mayor, I gotta tell you, this is so ridiculous, people have to keep coming back up here. Kevin, please when you're done, when we're done, I wanna know how big a piece of that property is. Okay, could you remember to answer that? You know, I have to tell you, sitting out here, people are up here speaking, all of you, not you, Mr. Lawyer, you've just been sitting there, you're all right. That's rude. Why aren't you listening to the people? You should be looking at them. I would like to ask this council tonight to please reconsider this resolution or ordinance that you passed tonight and table it. Take another vote, table it. Meet with the residents in that area. Maybe you could come up with something amicable. Maybe not as big, something that they feel they could live with. This is going to impact them in their neighborhood. This is also going to impact the church, it's going to impact the school, and it's going to impact Passaic Street. I really believe that Passaic Street was going to be revitalized What we need in this town is a good food store. We don't have a good food store. Wellington has ShopRite, Lodi has ShopRite, Garfield's got Basics or whatever that store is, that you have to keep checking the expiration dates. I mean, if you want to talk about bringing in revenue, businesses would be better than this kind of housing. Unfortunately, I had other things I wanted to talk about tonight, but I didn't know that the limit was now 3 minutes, which is totally ridiculous. And the other thing, please reconsider, putting these meetings on Cablevision. It's not fair that only part of the town gets the meetings. And when I go to my son's office, I have to dodge Angie Carapato, because if she's there, she screams at me, because when she puts on channel 77, there's nothing there. Only a still picture, no voice. These people can't get out to come to the meetings, and they want to know what's going on. They want to know where their tax dollars are going. And I mean, I appreciate the fact when I was up there, and I was the mayor, and we brought in this to televise the meetings, everybody went along with it. My colleagues all went along with it. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to just let it drop. I think it's great to use social media, but not everybody uses social media. You can't you can't tell a senior citizen that they have to use social media. They don't know how to do it. In fact, my grandson was 8 years old, he had to set up my computer. I couldn't do it. So I would ask you to reconsider, and I really would ask you to reconsider that ordinance you passed tonight regarding this redevelopment on Passaic Street. Think about it a little more, meet with the residents, get their input. This was pushed through too fast. Thank you, guys.
Do I say my name again?
Yes, please.
Joan Dennis, 24th Place. So basically, you all voted for this study. This is the study that we hoped you read. It was given to you May 28th. And Tanya was asking about acreage. Well, it's on page 2. It's the first page of the study. And it says the 3 properties on block 23 have a combined acreage of 0.410. And then I think the next acreage is on the theater. So if you had read it, you would have known it. Or I really doubt it. That's okay. I want my 3 minutes to start now because I'm reading a letter that a neighbor of mine.
Please read it.
His name is James Farias, 58 Somerset Street, Mayor Rivelosa, City Council. I'm writing to question the reason why many of my friends and neighbors haven't been able to access City Council meetings on Channel 27 on our Optimum cable since it's been a long time. I also understand FiOS subscribers are able to watch these meetings. For what reason do FiOS subscribers have access to public service channel while Optimum subscribers do not? That's also a question I'd like answered. He states, I do not have a computer or smart cell phone. I have no intentions of purchasing this technology. I asked Optimum why the meetings are no longer being shown. They advised me to contact the City Council as to this issue. It's not their doing, but rather the City Council actions or those who are handling the videotaping. Even though the video service of the meetings I was able to watch before it ended were greatly flawed and in sound and visual quality, it was the only avenue to watch important decisions that you, the council, are making. Please rectify this problem as soon as possible, as I'm sure you want to continue to provide this valuable service to those of us who are unable to attend meetings due to illness or mobility. That's from James. So now, my comment, and I really said this before, there is still this sector of the population, of the citizens that...
I'm listening.
I actually have that letter in my folder, Ms. Banis. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I finished the letter. I finished it. I'm now saying something new.
Okay.
There's still a sector of citizens that do not have technology or a smart cell phone. It really moves me to see that you can't just say, you know what, we need to give the Optimum people their channel back. And no one is going to explain why. Mayor, at the meeting after the judge said no about the eminent domain, you made us, oh, no, I'm sorry, not that. When you hired the new video recorder, the person, you said, let's get it done, let's put the video on the cable, let's put it on Cablevision, let's put it on FiOS. You actually said that. I watched it today on the website, and it hasn't happened.
the monies that you're receiving, everybody knows it now, but the total amount that you have received from Cablevision and from Verizon, like Mike said, over the last 9 years, totals to under $3 million. And I just can't understand why you don't say, you know what, let's just put the new feed in for $10,000. That money is coming out of my cable bill. And I know no one's going to address that. I know you're not going to address that fact. And Mr. Delaney, your statement about if you want to know if you want to know what's happening at the meeting, come to the meeting. You said October 24th, 2017. It's a little difficult to hear, but it's there.
Thank you.
Same address. I see a problem here. This may be my first meeting, but I also agree with a lot of these people. First of all, I don't even know what ordinance they're talking about that they passed tonight, because no one actually sat there and explained it. Well, this is what the ordinance, this is what this ordinance entails, and this is the scope of it, and this is what's going to be affected by it. And I think the town would do well to have some kind of transparency, maybe put it in the paper and explain to the people what the proposed plan is, rather than just voting it and say, oh, by the way, they voted this plan in and this is what they're doing now. This is the first I'm hearing about a lot of this stuff. I mean, I remember the eminent domain battle a while back, and but I didn't know there was still ongoing things. So I have no idea what just got voted on tonight, except $750,000 to protect the water supply. And I don't know even what that is going to entail. But I just think there should be a lot more transparency. The problem I see here is that not a lot of people in this town know what's going on, myself included, with all these plans and development. And I'm looking at this beautiful picture of the river over here, and I just wanted to say that development doesn't always mean like bigger and better buildings. I think they did a great job developing the waterfront. The Passaic River could be a lot better if they improved the other side of Outwater Lane and made improvements along the waterfront for access, for boating, for different activities, and beautify this place. I mean, this is a lovely place, and it can be made to look even a lot better. And it doesn't necessarily have to have like high-rise buildings and high density.
Is there anyone else?
Mike Dennis, Mike's not working anymore. I made an issue about the railroad tracks going north on New Jersey Transit at the railroad trestle on Passaic Street. And I just want to make a point over here that not only do I worry about stuff like this, but Thomas Richards, he's the Dumont interim borough administrator. I never brought this forward to the council. Here he worries about every spike that's on the railroad ties that are coming loose because he has tankers coming through his town being pulled by CSX rails. We have Norfolk Southern, and I spotted the other day 19 tankers coming through, and they're riding on tracks that the railroad ties are still in terrible shape, and you want to build around this stuff and put people's lives in danger. And here's two articles I can show them to you. Make his hand this to Mr. Dutch. And he was the former mayor of Maywood, and he checks every spike. He walks the tracks himself. That article is out quite a while now, but he takes it very seriously. We have tankers that come through here, and the railroad ties is in worse shape than one of the pictures I gave to Mr. Dutch. So we ought to take that as an issue too before we build around anything. Put anything around the railroad tracks especially.
Is that it, Mr. Dennis? That's it?
Yeah, he's got pictures that
Okay.
I'd like for everybody to see if they want to see them. He checks every railroad spike. He walks the tracks himself. He's the borough administrator. Right?
Oh, Tom Richards.
Is that?
And I took pictures where the spikes were and screws were laying on, bolts were laying on the ground. And the railroad tracks were in poor shape. And we don't get after New Jersey Transit like we should.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
All right? Thank you.
Anybody else would like to come up and speak?
I hope everybody's talked as I waited until the end. I'm going to ask the mayor if I can speak. My name is Anthony Griffo. Somebody might know me there. Okay? I'm a former resident of Garfield. I live in North Haledon now. But if you're all right, I'm not going to talk about any of your issues that you have tonight. I happened to watch the video last meeting that occurred where you attempted to bully and embarrass a citizen of the town. Again, that citizen is my sister, okay? I believe that was not right. I showed that video to many educators because I'm involved with the Board of Education. I asked for their opinion. They feel it's a form of bullying. And I'm sure you understand bullying because you're a principal of the middle school, correct?
Correct.
So I'm looking to ask you to apologize in public, on TV, for the comments you made about Joan. About how you asked her, about how you said about her she should go to Board of Education meetings and that she should, she's only here because she wants to be on TV. Those were bullying remarks. And I think you could agree to that. I hope you can agree to that because you are an educator. So I think at this point, you should apologize to her in public and on TV. Thank you for your time.
Anyone else? At this time, I see no hands. I'm going to open it up. Before I open up to council comments, Mr. Dutcher has some answers to some of the questions that
Mr. Mayor,
the residents asked.
council- I'm sorry. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, let's go through a couple of these things. Mr. Dennis Tran, you began this evening by saying that the developer building the police station is going to jail. The developer building the company is Two Brothers Development Company. I would submit to you, sir, that no one is going to jail. That's a defamatory comment. That's really not the way to begin a meeting. You also indicated in your comments that $975,000 was being spent for furniture in the police station. That is also absolutely false. It will cost almost $250,000 to equip the police station with the equipment that is necessary. We are not going to bring the old stuff to the police station. We are going to have a state-of-the-art police station that will serve our people properly the way they deserve to be served. So it is a new era, and the police station is going to be part of that. We had a business owner here. You talked about parking at 66 Passaic Street. You are correct. There is an issue with parking. An earlier presentation done this evening at the council meeting. Let me try again. I think I lost the speaker. An earlier presentation done at the council meeting was done by Deputy Police Chief Ron Palanque, Lieutenant Michael Marsh, and Officer David Peichel. They are the officers who worked on the new parking permit program. They talked tonight about what we need to do to try to address Passaic Street parking and parking regulations. They are hoping that we can have an ordinance introduced on July 9th to address some of these issues. We understand that the businesses are struggling. We understand that the residents are struggling. The council did hear that and did accept some of the recommendations that were done by the police department. Ms. Capizzi, you talked about an impact study. Impact study will come when this matter goes to the planning board and it goes to the redevelopment agency. Right now, this is just a conceptual plan. There are no physical plans for the construction of a building. There are no physical plans that have been presented. What has happened is a planner was hired by the planning board. That planner hired by the planning board presented a plan, brought it to the mayor and council, discussed it with the mayor and council. That plan's been presented and discussed at the redevelopment agency, at the planning board, and will be going there again. When the zone change takes place, there has to be comprehensive hearings, there has to be studies, there has to be traffic studies. All of these issues that everyone is talking about are addressed when redevelopment commences. Redevelopment has not yet commenced, and it will go no place unless an ordinance is introduced to allow redevelopment to go forward. That was the question on that. You talked about how does it affect citizens who are not part of redevelopment. When I went to that one South Garfield meeting, I went to the first meeting and I was cut short, even though it was a public session and I was cut short. But I did go to that second meeting with the mayor, and I did indicate in that meeting that we're talking about redevelopment on Passaic Street itself. Those of you who were at that meeting who live off of Passaic Street, your properties will not be touched. This is non-condemnation redevelopment. This is ready and willing developers redevelopment. This is not, okay, citizen, we are interested in taking your home. That is off the table. The Farnham Avenue situation on parking, I will ask Mr. Boswell to address that at the end because a number of residents talked about parking. Yes, we are repaving roads all over the city. We're working with Public Service Electric and Gas to improve gas lines throughout the city. Our gas lines in some parts of this city are almost 100 years old. They are in terrible condition. We have opened up the city of Garfield and we have cooperated with Public Service Electric and Gas to bring in as many new gas mains as possible. At the present rate, we anticipate that by the end of this year, 65% of the gas mains in the entire city of Garfield will have been replaced. That is remarkable. That is not happening in towns around us. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. Is it a burden? It absolutely is a burden. You, the citizen, are being detoured all over the city. But the final improvement and what we're going to wind up with is so much better than what we have and so much safer than what we have. So please be patient with that. There was a gentleman here, Al, you spoke about fix Passaic Street. Okay, so this mayor and council has supported, and Ms. Raymond, you supported this as well when you were here. We applied for something called a TAP grant. We were awarded the sum of $800,000 to improve the streetscape on Passaic Street from River Drive and Passaic Street up to the intersection, up to the trestle. All right, so we were awarded to redo the streetscape there, $800,000. It has not been done. Why hasn't it been done? We have done other work in that road. You are correct. The roadway's a mess. It is like being in a war zone. But the improvements under the ground, in the gas lines, the spot improvements on sewer lines and water lines in that area are going to be great going forward. Because we were so aggressive with our grant application, and other communities were not, the TAP grant, in order to get the TAP grant, someone has to be an eligible federal grant administrator. So the mayor and council, I went to Rutgers, and I became a federal grant administrator. I went to Rutgers on Saturdays so that I could become the grant administrator so that we can handle it. The first project we did sidewalks at School 4 and School 9. That was a federal project, okay? So in order to do Passaic Street, we had to get that done. We don't want to repave Passaic Street until the streetscape goes in. Because we were aggressive in what we were trying to do, they came to me. The grant people came to me and said, Mr. Dutch, how much do you need more money? I said, absolutely. If you can get me more money, I would like to continue the new streetscape up to the intersection of Marcellus and Passaic Street. So let's go on the other side of the tracks. Let's redo the curb, the sidewalks, the lighting, the whole works. They gave us another $300,000. That's $1.1 million. They also, tonight, one of the contracts we voted on, they also gave us the right to get an inspector paid for by a grant. That's going to be like another $165,000 paid for by a grant. Are we going to do it immediately? We are not, okay? I anticipate we would like to do it this fall, but I'm going to tell you realistically it probably won't happen until next spring. But yes, Passaic Street is absolutely on the radar, and that project is out there. I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry, and Mr. Boswell is right. At the end of our streetscape, Passaic Street is a county road. Bergen County has committed to repaving the road at the end of the project, so that's a good thing. Carol, you mentioned something about chasing people out. No, this is not about chasing people out. The 3 sites in question, there's actually 3 pieces of property. Joan, you were correct when you talked about it with the plan. And the 3 pieces of property are probably under half an acre. So that is correct. And it does, no one is being chased out. 2 of those properties are commercial properties, all right? So only 1 was residential. You also, some of you were at one of our work meetings, and we had the planner talked about the opportunity zones. Across the United States of America, certain areas have been designated as opportunity zones. Passaic Street is one of them. The economic incentive to develop in Passaic Street, on Passaic Street, expires December 31st, 2019. So if you want to get something started, now is the time. There was an article about it in NJ Biz. I think it's today's edition, or at least this week's edition. They talked about in Sayreville, when you go over the Driscoll Bridge, and you used to see all those pools of chemicals, and they've just approved, they're working on approving 415 acres of redevelopment, and they're trying to get in under the wire to get that December 31, 2019 tax incentive, which could be lost. The nice thing about the tax incentive, if you get a developer in, and that developer takes that tax incentive, they're going to be here for the long term. In order to get that tax incentive, they have to stay vested in the area for more than 7 years. So it's not going to be build and run away, build and sell and run away and leave us the problem. So that's why it would be good to take advantage of the opportunity zone. Redevelopment is about economic growth, all right? Redevelopment, you know, you talk about overpopulation. I've gone out, I've gone to Bloomfield, I've gone to Montclair, I've gone and looked at different municipalities, and I've seen where redevelopment has done so much, especially around train stations. Young people, millennium people, are interested in living around train stations, and they're interested in shopping in their area. I go back to our business lady, all right? Increased traffic could only help our businesses on Passaic Street. Just one other thing. I want to talk about cable and Cablevision. Yes, the city of Garfield receives money from Cablevision, and yes, we absolutely receive money from Verizon, okay? That money goes into our regular budget. Go online, look at our budget. Our budget anticipates that revenue every year. In fact, there was a time where gross revenues, gross franchise taxes were decreased, and that hurt us. So if we use the money for something else, we can't do it this year, all right, because this year it's already anticipated as part of this year's budget. Going forward, I suppose you can use it for something else if you wish. So let's talk about Cablevision. And Mayor, I'm sorry I'm being so long, but I'm trying to answer all the different comments. Mayor Raymond, you commented about writing. I was writing a lot because I'm trying to write what people said, and I'm trying to respond to what people said. So I apologize for having my head down, but I'm trying to be able to respond to as many people as I can. Cablevision. So when Mayor Raymond was here, we began Cablevision. We had a beautiful partnership with the Board of Education. Excellent, excellent. We had teachers who came in who volunteered during the day, volunteered at night, worked with students. We had students who otherwise would have no opportunity who came in and who filmed and who were absolutely wonderful, all right? They volunteered and the teachers volunteered at night. And then what happened was we got a lot of complaints about the sound. So I asked the mayor and council supported it. I bought new sound equipment. And I still hear some complaints from people. I will tell you, my dad at the time was 89, and he heard it perfectly. once we bought the new mic, but a lot of people complained about it. So ultimately, we bid the project out. When we bid it out, some of the teachers, one of the teachers came to the council meeting, and the teacher said, you know, we do this on our own time, and we really can't volunteer. And the reason it takes so long, just so everybody understands, it takes so long because the equipment is at the school board. And the equipment at the school board is probably 30 years old. So it's not that you put the chip in and the chip works, all right? That's what we did here in Garfield, in the city hall. Verizon, yeah, we got Verizon to work because we bought the Verizon equipment because we had a young man who helped me and told me what to buy, honestly, a high school student, told me what to buy. And then by taking pictures and talking to Verizon, we were able to hook it up, and we were able to get the Verizon station looping. And at the end of the meeting tonight, our gentleman in the back filming will go downstairs, put that chip in, and put that on the loop with Verizon. We don't have the same option at the Board of Education. At the Board of Education, the equipment is old. I don't know how it works. I don't understand how it works, but they have to go there, transfer it, put it someplace else, transfer it, edit it. It's a whole process. And they were volunteering. They're not volunteering now, all right? There were some sour feelings, whatever happened. The bottom line is that it was put out to bid. When it was put out to bid, we received 3 bids. When the bids came in, I opened the first 2. When I opened the third one, it was a firm that had done some work for me during my campaign, so I immediately excused myself and turned it over to Roy Rigatano and Mr. Pavlicka so that they could review and recommend the filming company. And everybody's happy with the filming company. Everything is working out well on Verizon. What I did is, I did go to Altice, Optimum, and Verizon, I'm sorry, and I tried to get them, no, Altice is Cablevision. I went back to them, and I said, hey, can you come look at the equipment at the high school? So with the approval of the superintendent and the principal, I did go back to the high school. We brought the people in to look at it to see if technology-wise, can they update it, would there be a cost, et cetera. I don't have an answer to that yet. So Cablevision, we have worked very, very hard. We spent a lot of time on this. There's no tech people. You know, it's us doing it. It's us doing it, just trying to make it work so that we can get as much out there to the public as we can. Mr. Mayor, I think I've answered most of the items. I'm sorry for taking so long, but, you know, in terms of redevelopment, so I also sit as the redevelopment director. And I got to point out again that this is non-condemnation only, willing property owners only. We are in an opportunity zone, and we really can't afford to lose this option. The planner came in and recognizing the density of the city, the planner said build 1-bedroom units that are small, build small 1-bedroom units. There was just an approval in Patterson, the Florio building. It is a multi-story building. It has 1, 2, and 3 family apartments, 206 of them, 7,700 units of retail, and they're going to have 217 parking spaces. So, you know, it's something that has to be looked at and will be looked at by the planning board and the redevelopment agency, and the public has their opportunity to comment when the plans are presented. Right now, it's a concept. Right now, it's an idea, and you have to move forward with an idea to get to a final destination. We have a train station, a second train station in Garfield. Towns that have a second train station normally are just humming along economically. All right? And we need to take advantage of that second train station before we lose it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Councilman, a lawyer.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin, I'm sorry, Councilman, a lawyer.
You asked me to check on the Farnham Avenue. There was a resident from 64, another resident from 65 Farnham Avenue. I've contacted our inspectors. They're going to be out there tomorrow. They're going to check the work that PSE&G does is they repave the road, and then they are supposed to repaint the road in accordance with what the state requirements are in terms of yellow lines set back from an intersection. So our inspector will be there tomorrow. They will check the yellow areas that are painted and determine if they are more than what the minimum is required, and then changes will be made if we can restore some of those parking spaces. This has happened before. It could be from an intersection, could be other things that prohibit legal parking from being there. It's possible that the parking that was there before did not comply with the state, and it's possible they made a mistake when they put back the yellow lines. So our inspector will be there to check that out tomorrow, and we'll
Thank you,
report back to
Kevin.
Mr. Dutt.
Councilman Lawyer.
Yeah, Mr. Boswell, while we're on that issue, is it their contractual agreement or their statutory requirement to paint the road, to repaint the road? Because we have the exact same problem on Lanza Avenue. We fixed Lanza Avenue, then we came in, we turned Lanza Avenue yellow, and then no one could live on Lanza Avenue. So then we've got the same issue on Farnham Avenue, which we could barely plow in the winter because it's so narrow. I understand that PSE&G will do it by the letter of the law, but is it necessity or is it contractual? If it's contractual, let's ask them not to do it anymore. Therefore, our Department of Public Works could modify, of course, let's not tell the state, but keep the films rolling, that our parking is a priority. Because I see in some of the other communities, what they're doing is they're doing a bump out on the corner of the sidewalk to protect the viewability of turnage and eliminating all of that yellow. So that way they're maximizing street parking, but of course still keeping a distance of, because you can't have people parking on the corner. Right. Actually, I think those bump outs are in some ways better than the yellow. Because I don't encourage, there was one lady here who mentioned about someone parking on the yellow when they ran into your business. We can't encourage that because those, God forbid there's an accident or something like that. But if there's a minor bump out of the sidewalk, that would be far better. So I think that's something we need to find out from PSE&G. I really do love the picture of Clifton, because that's Clifton. The only part of Garfield is the American flag. And I've been asking forever, could we at least put City of Garfield up there so I know where the heck I am? So that answers that question. I asked for a read ordinance copy to be placed on this desk for the people that are here that could come and read the ordinance. That still hasn't happened. We can't have a read ordinance. The ordinance, though, in all our defenses, is posted on the bulletin board right out in the hall. But a read copy here, I don't think is a big thing to ask, because we keep you waiting for an extra hour some nights, and it'll give you an opportunity to know what's going on more than just an agenda list.
Mr. Lawyer.
So that's a read copy.
Mr. Lawyer, Drew made the read copies. He just didn't make enough of them. He made about 15 copies.
Okay, they were out, the read copy? Okay, could we just have a fixed one, maybe one in a binder book, so it doesn't disappear? People don't know that they shouldn't be taking them. Not just copies, a read copy, which is just I'll give you the $1 for the binder that we can put it out, okay? Thank you. Cablevision. Cablevision, it's not 30 years old because I was here when we negotiated with Cablevision and we selected to put the hookup in the high school because we had people there doing it. I think this is an opportunity for the town to put Cablevision hookup here at City Hall. I think the mayor gets on the phone and he advertises all the good things that are going on in the city. Well, he could just as easily do it on TV. He can do a presentation for the emergencies that go on. Our city manager, he can be on TV saying, hey, there's this going on. We have a problem with this, we have a problem with that. The police department, we have road issues. We have things that are happening. People watch TV. I mean, in between Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune, I could jump over to 77 and watch it. People watch television. I mean, I've got more TVs in my house than I probably should have. So I don't think the $10,000 is an excessive amount. If it was a lot more than that, well, then maybe I'd have to back off on my statements with regard to cable. But Emil Cuccio was our attorney. He negotiated with Cablevision. We asked him to put the hookups in the police department, in the fire department, here in City Hall, but on outfeed in the high school. And I'm not sure everybody remembers, but back, I think it was the 2000 election, was when they actually interviewed us, the candidates, at the high school and put us on TV. I didn't look so good, but I still got elected, so I guess that was okay. So the equipment isn't as old as it is stated. It could definitely be utilized in so many different ways. The $10,000 is worth it. I mean, we're spending $10,000 to buy poles to run a banner across the street. We can put a cable vision hookup and we can have 2 cameras out in there. We can have volunteers come. We can still bring the volunteers, the young people that were part of the high school that wanted to do this, they could still come here. They're welcome to come. If they're not welcome at other locations, that's not something I'm going to get into. I got to only deal with the city issues. The parking issue, we brought that up because that's important. With regard to the Passaic Street development, we worked long and hard when we created the redevelopment agency to put in what you see now where Walmart is, and I think everybody remembers it was going to be a Home Depot, there was going to be this, going to be that. That's true. There are discussions that constantly are in flux and change, but at the same token, it was never meant to be more than what you see, an industrial, not industrial, a business complex with ample parking. We proposed the exact same concept on Monroe Street, but realizing the expense of the contamination, we made a concession then. We said, let's do housing and businesses, but you gotta have enough parking. If you don't have the parking, you are just going to turn it into, unfortunately, not a good place to live. And even tonight, we had our building inspector come to our meetings. Our building inspector says, look, we have citizens who own homes that don't care for them. How do we address the fact that they're not caring for them? Because when their grass is this high, it makes the rest of the neighborhood look poor. Well, that's the same thing you're going to have with 50 apartments. When one of the 50 is a bad neighbor, you will then contaminate the rest of the apartment building, and it goes nowhere. And if we're going to have green, we got to have some more green than no green. We got to have more parking than one space. The learned man that came to us at the council meeting definitely knows his plan. Definitely is not thinking, I think maybe. No, he knows what he's talking about. And you're not going to argue with a man that is that learned, because he definitely, the only problem is he doesn't live here. We do. And the point is, I agree with condemnation, because there are places, our garbage refinery, you're never going to get them out. We don't have enough money to buy them out. Let's be honest. So if you're going to go in there and say, look, we're going to push you as hard as we can, then that's the tool. The buildings that are being torn down and put into apartments aren't the bad-looking ones. They're actually pretty nice. But one parking space and 105 apartments, not going to work. I don't see it. Maybe that man is a lot smarter than me, and that's probably true. The only problem is, when he leaves, we stay. There lies the problem. He's going to have to work a lot harder than 30 minutes at the last council meeting with no paperwork, no illustration, no plan to convince me that that's where you need to put 105 apartments. Carol. Thank you, Carol, for what you said about the dog park. I know you still hate me, but that's okay, no problem. I understand. We have other issues that we disagree upon. The police department, I think they're doing a great job with this parking program. I know there was a lot of criticism with it, but it is actually it's a financial improvement for the town. I see streets clearer of vehicles that shouldn't be there. I think that we have a potential on Passaic Street to improve the parking and the side streets. The police have proposed a plan tonight to us. I'm not in total agreement with it, but you know what? Sometimes you got to say, let's start somewhere. But it's not a start that's going to hurt anyone. Hopefully it's a little bit of a help and then a little bit of a help, and then we can have, more parking on Passaic Street and people utilizing their businesses. It'll become an enhancement. It came to my, last thing, Mayor, and then I'll turn it over, but it came to my knowledge that I and one other councilman were opposed to the acquisition of cameras and license plate readers. I don't know why that was said about, I'll speak for myself, I don't know why that was said about me. If I did say it, I was wrong, but I don't ever remember saying we shouldn't buy cameras. I made a very big point to the police with the dog park. I said, we need a camera, because you've got a park that's half children and half dogs. And if, kids love dogs. And if a dog bites or injures a child inadvertently, we need to know what's going on. We need to have a camera. The new cameras are so good, they're also license plate readers. So we can put some of those on Passaic Street and some of the perpendicular streets that can actually know what traffic is happening and have a total understanding. Because we do have misconceptions and we do get it wrong sometimes, but then sometimes we even get it right. But that's the key issue, is that I don't understand why it was said. It was brought to my attention that I was a proponent of not having cameras on the street. If I said that, then I apologize, but I didn't mean it, but I don't ever remember saying it. Maybe my Alzheimer's is kicking in occasionally when it only wants to. But I just don't see that being something bad. I think that the police have done an outstanding job with their virtual metering and the programs that they have. I actually do see the streets having less cars in them. 105 apartments, only going to put a lot more cars back on. Thank you for the time, Mayor.
No problem. Councilwoman?
I just want to start off by saying I'm going to try to streamline my comments as best as possible, but I have a lot of notes, so forgive me if I'm a little bit scattered. First and foremost, I would like to apologize to Ms. Banas for asking the deputy mayor a question while you were speaking. With that being said, firstly, Mr. McDaniel? Al? Yes? Okay, I think you have a great point in regards to the foam containers and expanding on this ordinance. I absolutely agree with you and look to do that in the future. As I mentioned, hopefully the state legislature gets their legislation moving and it won't be just on the municipality, but definitely something that I plan to consider. With that being said, I'm not entirely sure what environmental group was in the paper that you were referencing, but we do have a green team here in Garfield. If you are interested in joining, you could give me your contact information. However, I will say, and I will take fully credit, I haven't been as involved with it as I would have liked lately. I did start a new job in December, which we've encountered a lot of problems, so I've had my hands full, and that in turn leads me to Carol. That's also why I have not been able to dedicate time in getting those flower bed garbage pails on Passaic Street. Again, I always say I am dissatisfied with the garbage in town as well, and I will give credit to our city manager who talked about this evening and directed letters to multiple DPW employees asking about the trash cans in Garfield, how often are they emptied, what's the route or the procedure used for emptying them, why are they always full when the weekend starts, can't we pick up on Friday afternoons? I mean, this is something that we do recognize and see and really want to address, and I think that we should have more accountability with our DPW on that. But I do apologize for the delay. I would like to thank our city manager and engineer for covering a lot of the other issues, but moving on to the two bigger topics of discussion, Cablevision and Passaic Street. As many know, and as our city manager explained, the meetings were televised on Cablevision through the Board of Education feed in the past. We really didn't have any issues aside from a few complaints about how good the sound was heard, but we did receive 2 requests from our councilman in regards to FiOS, which we did get put up on FiOS, and in regards to hiring a new company to address these sound issues. I was not here at the last meeting, I apologize, but I know it was claimed that I played games, and I'd like to dispute that because I did exactly what I said I would at a council meeting. My vote was first no for a new video company because I wanted to focus on the website, and then the second time it was brought up to a vote, I voted yes. Little did I or we know that we would lose access to the Board of Education feed, which no one had a problem with us using up until it was taken away from us. I want to make it clear that I have no problem with our meetings being on Cablevision. Again, they always were. What my problem is spending $10,000 on something that we got and can get for free, even if the posting is slightly delayed. So I look at it as two ways of handling this. We can take the torpid, easy way out and cut a check to Cablevision for $10,000, or we could put a little more work into it and save money to set up a meeting with the Board of Education to discuss how can we get back on their feed. We deal with them every year for their budget. We've been more than generous with them. We've collaborated on bigger projects than this before. I think it would be a disgrace to our residents if we could possibly get this for free and didn't do everything in our power to provide this service for free like it's been. We wasted valuable time discussing this here through email. If something was this important to me, I know I would take the initiative by going to the Board of Ed meetings, calling for a work meeting, any kind of action that isn't reckless, lazy, or burdenful to our already busy administration. With that being said, if we choose to go the second route, I would gladly be on board and participating in these meetings. However, again, I will not support throwing money out the window. And if we can't arrange this deal with the Board of Education, I will retract my statements and stand corrected. I do want to point out, because I know I've said that our meetings are fully accessible online. I still stand by that. I know some people claim that they have no device to do so, but there was a Rutgers and Fairleigh Dickinson study that shows that there's little evidence to a digital divide here in New Jersey. 97% of New Jersey residents live in a house that hold access to the internet, and almost 75% live with 3 or more devices capable of access. That's just something done by Rutgers and Fairleigh Dickinson. But piggybacking off of this topic, the website and cost of the website was mentioned this evening and at the last meeting. The daily management of the city employees from the QSEN website is unrealistic. They have no time to keep the website up to date. At multiple meetings, there were complaints, and that's how the QSEN website worked. Our city employees had to update it. With this new website, it will be daily management by Alpha Dog. It will be user-friendly. Again, there were countless complaints that minutes weren't posted, agendas weren't posted. With this new website, that will no longer be an issue. And then we'll also have a social media presence. There's a claim of lack of transparency, but with this new website that I advocated for, but I do want to point out every single person on this council voted in favor of the website. We'll do just the opposite. I am frustrated with the time taken to launch it as well. We received an email that it was ready to launch in November of 2018 from Alpha Dog, but the reason that it hasn't been launched yet is because, one, I believe it took quite a long time for department heads to review it, and then 2, we have glitches with the old company, QSEN, that are being worked through. But I guarantee that once this is launched, we will reach more residents as a result of the new website once it's rolled out. That's all I have in regards to Cablevision. And I have to say, I apologize for our city manager, because I know I keep following up on the website, and I do believe he's doing all that he can, but the holdup is not on our end. So moving on, redevelopment. I understand that most people in this room are opposed to this redevelopment, but our city is made up of more than 30,000 people. Being on the council isn't an easy job. We have to make decisions for the betterment of over these 30,000 residents, and not just those in this room. And that's not to say that one is more important than the other or valuable than the other, but we need to vote in the majority for the majority. Redevelopment is one of the most effective ways to breathe new life into deteriorated areas plagued by social, physical, environmental, and economic conditions which act as a barrier to new investment by enterprises. Through redevelopment, a project area can receive focused attention and financial investment to reverse deteriorating trends, create jobs, revitalize the business climate, rehabilitate and add to the housing stock, and gain active participation and investment by citizens that would otherwise not occur. With this specific project, this is something the property owners support. I understand parking is a concern, and I know that I'm going to advocate that it be factored into the plans for this area. And as our city manager mentioned, we recognize the parking issues. That's why we implemented the new parking system that we have with our residents. and we had this proposal this evening. But this will attract young transients and city commuters, which are less likely to have cars because of them being environmentally conscious and because of where they work, and also empty nesters, which is exactly what we want and need in Garfield. And I know Ms. Raymond mentioned the apartments by Porterville Station not being rented out. The only apartments that are still available are the 2-bedroom apartments. So, well, I was told otherwise, so if I'm incorrect, then, but we need Garfield, we need this area to increase our property values, help keep taxes stable, and increase our Garfield station numbers. If we lose this stop, it would be detrimental to our community. The Beneke report addresses infrastructure. In 2016, New Jersey got a D+ on its infrastructure report card. Infrastructure creates access, access creates value. We need to recycle that value by investing back into the infrastructure, and this is possible through redevelopment. We have a lot of potential here that needs to be unlocked for the 21st century growth. I'm a fair and level-headed person. I listen to both sides of a debate before making a decision. I also don't make a decision or a statement based on what will elect me in the future. That's not what's first on my agenda, but rather what's best for the future of Garfield. Every plan and study done in the past 20 years has promoted and encouraged new development in this area specifically. The benefits clearly outweigh the concerns, in my opinion, which are mostly not based on facts and based on simply the fear of the unknown, which I understand. However, this issue has been studied for over 20 years, and it's time to stop studying and start doing. With that being said, thank you, Mayor.
Welcome. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, first of all, too, I understand a lot of the Farnham Ave residents left, but the parking on Farnham Ave is horrendous. And it is a one-way, so I can't see why we cannot stop down, cut down on the yellow lines, because nobody's pulling out onto MacArthur, where everybody's pulling in. So there has to be something that we could definitely do to help you out, and I'm sure we will. It's better. With regards to people speaking about Passaic Street with the potholes and everything, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But we do have a plan. We have a grant in place to improve all that. People talking about the garbage. We had a citywide cleanup 3 weeks ago. We had about 100 people there, but anybody that came up to complain about the garbage tonight wasn't there. So if you want to complain about the garbage, join us in fighting the garbage. Join us on our citywide cleanups. Come. All right, we invite everybody. Everybody was welcome, but everybody who came up tonight to complain about garbage was not at that cleanup.
Well, some people.
Excuse me. All right. Mike O'Gall, I don't remember saying that, but evidently you have the date and the time and the exact way I said it, but I'm sure there's something a lot different to the way I said that. You're making it sound like I'm against transparency, I'm against filming the meetings. I was a council member up here fighting to get meetings televised before they were. I was up here in the minority for many years when the meetings weren't televised, fighting to get it televised, Mike. So if you're going to make a statement about what I said, make sure you include everything in it, not just bits and pieces. All right, Ms. Raymond, you say that the redevelopment on by Muscarelli is beautiful. You're absolutely right. You know what? That took 10 years to get developed. 10 years because we had certain council members telling people that live in that neighborhood there's going to be traffic, they're going to overburden our schools, there's going to be all kinds of crime and everything. But you know what? You just said it's beautiful. So what I really don't need is people spreading words and lies saying about there's going to be traffic when we don't even know. We have no clue. I see a sign over here said it's going to be 6 stories. How do you know it's going to be 6 stories? I don't know that. I don't know that. But we have a sign up there. So the thing is, I hate when we start spreading lies about redevelopment when absolutely it was false on the Muscarelli property. We had people up here fighting for 10 years against putting that up. 10 years. 10 years we had people fighting against putting that up, certain council members. And it was a gorgeous project. And the only reason why that was done was because of Roger Heddle. Roger Heddle was was the chairman of the redevelopment back then. And he pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. He didn't give up. You know what? Passaic Street, is this the best project? I don't know. But to do nothing is shameful. You have a diamond in the rough with the train station. You have an opportunity. I mean, we've been trying to develop Sake Street for years. For 3 years, we've been trying to develop it, and nothing has happened. Nothing. Danny's Pizza. Yes, Danny's Pizza, Joan. 50 years ago, it burnt down. You know what? It's still a burnt-out building. That's terrible. So for us to accept that as normal, it's not right. It's not right. You got a beautiful business there. I give you all the respect in the world. You know what? I want to see more businesses like that. All right? That could actually stay. We got 3 empty lots on the side of Passaic Street. That doesn't look good. You know? And you got to remember, what does redevelopment bring to the city? What does it bring to the city? Taxes are lower. Right? When I first got on the council, we were thinking about laying off 12 police officers. We no longer had fireworks. We no longer had the Easter egg hunt. We no longer had the social things that we have today. Only because of redevelopment bringing in taxes that we're able to do these things. You know, change it, but believe me, change is hard for everybody. But please don't come up and say it's going to be traffic, this, because we don't know yet. There's plans to study, there's other things to do. So, you know, just to close an eye to redevelopment on Passaic Street, that's wrong. That's wrong. So all I ask is everybody to keep an open mind. Just keep an open mind, see where it brings us. You know, but to shut it down right from the get-go, that's the wrong thing to do. Have an open mind. You know, if nothing happens, you know what, nothing happens, everything stays the same. I also got a few phone calls this week from Woodridge residents about a statement that was made in the paper about the town being a garage ghetto. I mean, what persists any citizen from Garfield to call another town a garage ghetto? I don't know. I know you don't make a lot of friends saying stuff like that, but, I mean, come on now. You know, it's not right. So with that, I'd just like to remind everybody, July 3rd is our fireworks, not on the 4th, and the reason we're able to pay for the fireworks is because we've got redevelopment. All right? So, July 3rd, I believe it's at
6:30.
Century Field. We're having a band there. We never had bands before in town.
Trucks.
We're having concerts by bands for free for the entire city. This is great stuff. Come on, instead of focusing on the negative stuff, Garfield has so much to offer. And believe me, when Passaic Street is redeveloped and when it's looking good, 10 years from now, everybody's going to sit back and you know what? We did the right thing. But to do nothing is not the right thing. All right? Also, I'd just like to recognize one gentleman we have sitting in the audience. Now, this guy right here is the owner of one of the best businesses in Garfield. All right? He's been known worldwide as the best hamburger joint in New Jersey. I mean, if anybody reads the record, this guy has the best hamburgers in New Jersey. And you know what? He's here in Garfield. And tonight, he spent 2 hours at a council meeting just to hear about the redevelopment. You know, anybody wants to recognize Steve's Burgers? The owner of Steve's Burgers sitting in the back. He's also being recognized this October by our PBA. That this is what we want in Garfield. Right there, that's what we want. Situations just like that. And Steve, thanks for your family, for coming here, for spending your 2 hours. You know, if you want, you could go home and watch us on Files, not on Cablevision, not yet at least. But with that, I'd like to just thank everybody for coming to the meeting.
Thank you. Steve, oh yeah, go ahead. Tom would like to say something before I...
Just on a very positive note, our recreation department. Our recreation director announces that summer camp begins July 1st. It is an 8-week program. We are taking registrations now for the Jewel Street Spray Park, which will also open next week. It's $25 a person for the whole season, or $60 per family for the whole season. Kids 4 and under are free. There's also a $5 a day pass available. Garfield residents only. Recreation Department is also sponsoring open gym basketball and soccer for the entire summer. That'll be for middle school and high school aged kids. We need school ID and completed parental consent, and anyone can participate. Fireworks will include the concert in the park, entertainment, We've hired extra face painters because we don't ever have enough. Little kids line up and they love it, so we have extra face painters this year. Festivities begin on 20th Century Field at 6:30 at night. We've been getting a lot of complaints about bike safety, so the Recreation Department has received 17 bikes, helmets, and locks from the Hackensack Meridian Health Company this past Thursday. Our Recreation Director made those arrangements. We will be holding bike safety classes during summer camp, followed by outings at 20th Century Field to teach practical bike safety. And finally, we are very serious about counselor training. So today, our counselors all completed training required by the New Jersey MEL, which is our overall liability agency for the whole state. Safety classes included trips and transportation safety, playground safety, child sex abuse prevention, and all kinds of other training. So our counselors are ready for your children. Send us your children. We'll take care of them for the summer. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom.
Now, that'd be a great commercial on cable.
Yeah. We should have it.
Over and over. We can get Steve's Burgers to buy a little ad space. That way it pays for the cable vision. We can make money on that 10,000.
Yeah, we need to
Sorry,
get
Mayor.
it. That's okay. That's a shameless plug, but we're all right. Also, Steve's Burgers, they were voted, I see that big sign out there, the #1 steaks in New Jersey as well. So if you're not a burger fan, you do have good cheesesteaks there. Listen, the redevelopment on Passaic Street, it's an idea. We haven't seen plans. I haven't seen a plan. I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't seen nothing in writing, all right? It's been a discussion going back and forth. Other than the planner coming up and discussing it, you know, there hasn't been a drawing of anything. So there is an idea, and we do recognize that Passaic Street needs parking. That's why we had our police officers in today, our chief was in, and we were discussing parking in Passaic Street. And, you know, we're moving forward. There was a resident up here earlier, he talked about, you know, there's drugs and drug addicts on Passaic Street. That's what we're trying to get out. That's what we're trying to get out of Passaic Street. I'm sure no one here wants drugs and drug addicts living on Passaic Street. These are people that come in, and as soon as the rent goes up $50, they're out, but they leave a mess behind. That's not who you want there. Joan, I know we spoke many times, Joan, and we're all in agreement that we want improvement on Passaic Street. And how we're gonna get it? I don't know how we're gonna get it. But we all have to agree. You guys call it Main Street, downtown. That's the main hub of our town. And it needs to be cleaned up. There's a business in there, Mr. Cupcakes. He's moved in there recently, and I got permission from him to talk about it. He's dying there. He pulled in $700 this month. After everything was said and done, $700. Okay? Yes, parking. We did discuss parking, but, you know, you lose these places. Who comes into there? Who comes in shopping? There are residents who live on Lanza Ave who bypass Passaic Street. We got to fix it up. We got to come to an agreement here. You can't fight everything. You got to trust what we're going to do. We're going to try to improve it. We're going to try to make it better for all the residents. We're not looking to move people out. We're not looking to get rid of people, but we are looking to get rid of the drug addicts. We are looking to get rid of the drug dealers. We are looking to get rid of those people who come in and they use up all our resources and then they move out. As soon as rent goes from $700 to $750, they park all their cars up and down the streets. They fight with our longtime residents. I got a resident who shot me this today, a video, just on Sunday. Her car got hit as the person was breaking into other cars, stole stuff from the cars on Passaic Street, and then as they were driving, sideswiped her car because she had to park on Passaic Street because she couldn't park on her street, which was a side street. You know, and she told me this because, you know, and the police have it and the police are investigating it, but this is what we get every day. Every day. A resident's walking to Walmart, they get harassed. They get intimidated. So we're trying to clean it up. We're trying to fix it up, and we're trying to improve it. You know, when there's no condemnation, someone wants to sell their piece of property, you know, they're going to sell their piece of property. Just the other day, we had a tenant, a landlord, doesn't live in Garfield, lives somewhere else. He owns 2 units, and he's looking to sell his property. He's looking to sell his property to get out of Passaic Street. And, you know, for whatever reason, but he's looking and he's inquiring about what's going on there. So, you know, no one's here trying to hurt anybody. We're just trying to improve our town. We're trying to make that, you know, a Park Ave, a Ridgewood Ave, a Bloomfield Ave. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having that. That helps every business on Passaic Street, the old and whatever new comes in. And if I have a business on Passaic Street, I would want residents coming in. There was a study by Beneke, that was our planner, and yes, $2,000 is a lot of money for a 700 square foot apartment. I will never rent it. No one on this board will rent it, and I'm sure no one here will rent it. But I guarantee you, it's not for us. It's for that person who is commuting to Hoboken, Jersey City, or New York City. They can't afford the $4,000 in Hoboken, but they sure could afford $2,000 in Garfield. And they will take that because they've done this before. They've done it in Hackensack, Rollway, Roseland, Jersey City, Bayonne, Newark, Kearney. They've done it before. They've done their homework. They know they build 105 units, they're going to get 105 occupants. Our issue is the parking. We get it. We're looking into it. We're going to figure out a way. It is a big issue, okay? And that's one of our issues that we're going to talk to the planners and the developers, and hopefully we come to a conclusion. But, you know, the planner was also saying that through their studies, each unit brings in $1,500 up and down Passaic Street a month. That's over $1 million a month floating up and down Passaic Street. That's money. That's real money. That's how these towns get revitalized. They don't get revitalized by four nail salons and 3 barbershops. They're not going to get revitalized like that. You know, and I hate to say that, but that's the reality of it. I have 6 kids under 13 years old in Garfield. I grew up here all my life, all right? And I'm not moving out of Garfield. And when I ran, regardless, good, bad, or indifferent, win or lose next time around, it doesn't matter to me. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. It doesn't bother me. But I tell you what, I'm going to be here, and I want all of Garfield, because I remember walking from Passaic Street to Lands Ave, never getting harassed, never getting intimidated, never being afraid. And now all of a sudden, I don't see senior citizens walking up and down Passaic Street. Come to 7 o'clock, as soon as the lights go off, I see people locking their doors. There's nobody on Passaic Street. This is why, yes, you are there, and thank you for being there. But this is what we got to move on from. We're all in agreement. If you sit here and you say you're not in agreement, then you're in the wrong town. Because we all in agreement that Passaic Street needs to be fixed because it's the main hub of our town. It could be the thriving part of our town. Now we just got to come to the conclusion of what do we want there. And then the big issue is the parking, and we'll figure that out together. Okay, that being said, Cablevision. Oh my God, this is like the thing that never goes away, Cablevision. I wish everybody was here with Cablevision when we were getting rid of it. No one fought for us to get rid of it because it wasn't working right, it was coming on, it was delayed, there was issues, and there was issues. But we should have been, when we had Cablevision, all we needed to do was fix it, tweak it, whatever we need to do, and then fight for, Files. And Mike, so, I'm using sarcasm when I said there's only 6 residents or 5 residents in Garfield. All right? Maybe 8, and I'm one of the 8. I was using sarcasm. I know people have Files, and more people in Garfield have Cablevision. And, you know, right now we have bigger things going on here, and there's a lot of other things going on, and everything, can't say what I wanted to say. Everything moves slow. For some reason, everything moves slow. Tanner, you sat right here, and you know things move slow. Just because we say it, there's a process that goes through. So we say, hey, let's get Cablevision. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen next month. There's a process. No one's against getting Cablevision. No one's against seeing us on TV. But when we had it, people made a big deal about it because it wasn't working right. It was free. It was free. And no one wanted it to say, hey, it's free, why don't we just get Files at the same time? But because it was free and certain things weren't being put on in July and August because the kids weren't working and it was volunteer basis, they decided to get rid of it. We could have kept Cablevision, tweaked it, fixed it, and got files, and we'd have been happy. Now we have to spend money. And now that becomes the issue, and that becomes, everybody's feelings get hurt. Well, people's feelings get hurt, but just like everything else, we'll come to a conclusion, we'll come to a compromise, and we'll figure it out, and we'll move on, and there'll be something else going on there. But no one's against Cablevision. No one here is against it. It's just that it's not the right time right now. Who knows what July brings? Who knows what July brings? Let me see as I move through here. I wrote a lot of notes. Tanner.
3 minutes are up.
Yeah, thank you, Tanner. But I'm going to go on a little longer. I think Mr. Lawyer had about 6 minutes, so I'm going to go on a little longer. Just about 30 seconds. Once I find my notes. My head was down because I was writing notes. I wasn't being disrespectful. I'm sorry. I remember sitting in there watching your head down here too, Tanner. Okay? No? Oh, then you must have been sleeping. Okay. Let me see. Mr. Griffin, you came on up here. Joan could have talked to me. You didn't need to make the drive from North Hilton, but I appreciate it. It's your sister, and you stand up for your sister, and I appreciate that. Oh, okay.
Steve's Burgers.
Yeah, make sure on the way 46. I don't think it was bullying, but if she was offended, I do apologize to her if she was offended. But no way was that bullying. But if she was offended the way of my tone and everything, I do apologize to her because I don't want anybody to be offended the way I speak to them. So I move on from that, but I do apologize to you, Joan, if you're offended by my tone, but it wasn't bullying. We have a lot of great things in Garfield going on. The town's moving in a positive direction. We have so much opportunity here. We got major highways within a driving distance, major hospitals. We got shopping by the Garden State Plaza. We got racetracks all within an earshot away, 10 miles, 11 miles from Manhattan. We couldn't make it better. We just got to learn to, figure it all out. With that said, hey, listen, we got the July. Oh, I want to congratulate all our graduates from the middle school and the high school. I wish them tons of success. They're going to regret it one day. They're going to wish they were back in high school like some of us do, because that's when you're old enough to know and too young to care, and they're going to enter the real world soon. But I know our graduates are going to do fantastic. We had the valedictorian. She got a 4-year scholarship paid. There's so much good going out of Garfield High School and Garfield Middle School, and our parents and our residents, a lot of good. The rec center and the Boys Club summer program and the YMCA summer programs going on there. And we're going to continue. There's a vision, and everybody, we want everybody's input for this vision, and hopefully, we're going to come together and we're going to make Garfield, fantastic. With that, everybody enjoy your evening, and we'll see you here in July.
Make a motion to close,
Yes.
adjourn, rather.
Is there a second?
Joe seconded.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.